The happiest people I have ever read about were people who thought about death every single day. Not tortured people, not dark people. People who were more alive than anyone around them. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. All three of them made death a daily practice, and all three of them lived with a clarity and a purpose that most people spend their entire lives searching for. Today I am going to show you exactly how they did it, and why it works. Let me tell you about a ritual Marcus Aurelius performed every single morning, before he spoke to an advisor, before he read a single report, before he gave a single order. He sat in silence, and he reminded himself of his own death, not morbidly, not with fear. Deliberately, he wrote this in his meditations. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Read that again slowly. You could leave life right now. He was not trying to frighten himself. He was trying to wake himself up. Because Marcus understood something about the human mind that psychology is only now beginning to confirm. The mind that forgets its own mortality lives as if there is unlimited time, and the mind that believes it has unlimited time wastes most of it. Think about the last time you had a near miss. A car that came too close. A diagnosis that turned out to be nothing. A phone call in the middle of the night that ended in relief. Remember how the world looked different for the days that followed. How you called the people you had been meaning to call. How the argument you had been carrying suddenly seemed absurd. How the ordinary things, a meal, a conversation, the light in the afternoon, felt like gifts instead of background noise. That clarity, that is what memento mori gives you. On purpose, without waiting for the near miss. The Stoics did not wait for a crisis to remind them what mattered. They built the reminder into every single morning. Now I need to address something directly, because the first time most people hear this practice, they say, "That sounds depressing. Why would I want to think about death every day?" And I understand that reaction completely. We live in a culture that does everything it can to avoid this conversation. We do not talk about death at dinner tables. We do not teach it in schools. We use words like passed away and lost him to soften the reality. And the result of all that avoidance? Anxiety. Because here is what the research actually shows. The people who are most afraid of death are not the ones who think about it most. They are the ones who think about it least. The avoidance does not protect you from the fear. It feeds it. When you never face the thing directly, it grows in the dark. It becomes the nameless dread underneath your restlessness. The reason you cannot sit still. The reason silence feels uncomfortable. The reason you keep reaching for the phone. You are not avoiding boredom. You are avoiding the question that lives underneath the boredom. Am I actually living the life I am supposed to be living? The Stoics sat with that question every day, and what they found on the other side of it was not despair. It was freedom. Seneca wrote this in one of his letters. Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. The person who puts nothing off, who treats each day as if it could be the last chapter, does not become paralyzed with grief. They become extraordinarily focused. They stop spending Tuesday worrying about what someone said on Sunday. They stop putting off the conversation they have been avoiding for 3 years. They stop living as if the meaningful version of their life starts next month. It starts today, or it does not start at all. Marcus Aurelius lost 5 of his children. He ruled through a plague that killed 5 million people across his empire. He fought wars that lasted years with no clear end, and he never stopped showing up. Not because he was unaffected, but because every morning he reminded himself that his time was finite. And finite time, truly felt, not just intellectually acknowledged, cannot be wasted on things that do not matter. He wrote this. Confine yourself to the present, not the regret of the past, not the anxiety of the future, the present, this hour, this conversation, this choice, because this is the only moment you actually have. And the person who truly understands that, who feels it in their body, not just their mind, treats every ordinary moment differently. So here is the practice, not a theory, a practice you can start tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, before the day takes over. Sit in silence for 5 minutes and say this to yourself. I will not be here forever. The people I love will not be here forever. This day will not come back. What kind of person do I want to be today? That is it. No elaborate ritual, no hour-long meditation. 5 minutes of honest silence and one honest question. What kind of person do I want to be today? And then live the answer. The Stoics were not people who sat around thinking about death all day. They were the most engaged, most purposeful, most present people of their era. Marcus ran an empire, Seneca wrote volumes, Epictetus taught hundreds of students. They were not diminished by this practice. They were sharpened by it. Because the person who knows their time is limited does not squander it. They invest it in the work that matters, in the people who matter, in becoming who they were always capable of being. Memento mori is not a meditation on death. It is a meditation on life, on what you do with the time you have been given, on who you choose to be inside the window you were handed. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think today. That question, lived honestly, daily, without flinching, is how ordinary people become extraordinary ones. Not by having more time, but by wasting less of it.